Hey YouTube, what's up? Kevin the Tech Ninja here, and today we're going to talk about the long-term experience with the Pixel 6 Pro. Now, if you guys don't know my, setup of how I use phones, it's very simple. I have two phones that I carry with me at all times. I have an iPhone, and typically I carry an Android device. A lot of the times, it's going to be a Pixel. I just love the camera. I love the portrait mode. So taking pictures of the family, taking pictures of my kid. I most likely will have a Pixel in my hand when I do that, just because I love how the Pixel takes these photos. But anyways, I've had the phone since it pretty much came out, and I've been using it, and so I have a lot of opinions about this phone. Now, if you like real conversations about technology in a way that anyone can digest it, in a way that is easily understood, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are closing in on 250K subs. That is an amazing, amazing feat. I would love to hit that. So hit that subscribe button, be part of the journey, and ring that bell notification. Leave a comment as well, what you're thinking about this video and what you think about the Pixel 6 Pro. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So I have to say, in the hand, this phone feels really good. It really reminds me of a Samsung device, and that is not a bad thing, as I've always felt that Samsung devices feel extremely premium in the hand. But the only thing about Samsung devices, maybe the ones from a couple years ago, not recently, is that the glass gives you fingerprints and smudges. That's here too. This glass does fingerprint, it does smudge. Just because it's glass, it's not frosted what I like to see. And that's one thing about this phone that, you know, if I could change today, I would, is that I really wish the glass was frosted. Frosted glass, in my opinion, has a better look. And obviously that can be fixed with a nice case. And for this phone, I think a case is definitely required. This screen is also curved as well. If you can see this little curve around these edges, which I think looks really good, but for me, practicality, it just isn't a great phone to hold. It does come out a little bit slippery because of it being slick on the back and you have the curved edges. It's just not an easy phone to hold. And also when using the phone, I sometimes press the edges on accident when I don't mean to. And I sometimes accidentally, when I'm typing, I'm hitting different buttons, and it just makes the phone not as easy to use as I would like it to be. But if you get a case, usually that resolves these two issues pretty quickly. Now for me, a personal thing is that I like smaller phones, and the Pixel 6 non-Pro version is actually smaller, and that suits my needs a little bit better, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, I think this is the best screen that we have seen on any Pixel device ever. This screen is on par with any of the screens that I've reviewed on any other phone. So I think we're getting to the point now where cell phone screens, you can't tell them apart when they're really good, because they do everything really well. They handle everything really nicely. And I would say this phone is right up there with Samsung, right up there with Apple and all those manufacturers. I have no problems at all with the screen. It is 6.71 LTPO and it's AMOLED. It's 120 Hertz at Quad HD resolution. So this is high-end specs, top-end specs, and the screen is just so fast. It's one of those things that you actually have to use to really recognize how nice it is. So if you take a look here, like as I scroll between pictures, as I flick up and down, everything is just very smooth. It is literally attached to my finger, and I think this is really nice. It's just one of those things that when using the phone, it feels that much more responsive, that much snappier, just because it's that high refresh rate. Now, continuing the theme of it being premium, it has a premium speaker setup. I really think it sounds very good. You know, once again, you compare it to other phones in the same price point, the high-end iPhone and the high-end Samsung devices. This right there, also comparing them back to back, I really can't tell the difference. I think it sounds very good. Now, some people have said that it sounds maybe a little bit muffled, and you know, for me, I rather take a little muffle over a little tinny, as I think Samsung devices can sound tinny. But overall, like if you just listen to it or you're talking on the phone, I don't think you're gonna say those things. I think you're just gonna listen to it and just enjoy how it sounds, because I think it sounds really good. So over the years, Pixel phones have always been like very software driven, and I don't think that's changed a lot. But this year, the hardware definitely has caught up. So Google is using its own Tensor chip with up to 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. So with the Tensor chip, you can do things like you can manage permissions of the hardware. So for example, I can turn off the microphone and also turn off the camera on a hardware level. So if you're worried about your phone listening to you, you can easily turn off the mic access and turn off the camera access. So when you go into these applications, they are not listening to your mic or not using your camera. That is a hardware level type of setting you can adjust, and that is because of Google's Tensor chip. Another great feature that the Tensor chip allows is for super fast and accurate voice dictation, something I have never seen before. It even puts proper punctuation and emphasis and all those things that normal speech has. I think is really good. Even with me messing up what I'm saying, not sure what I'm going to say, it picks it up perfectly. So those are things that this phone does very well when we talk about hardware, talk about software, but there is a big elephant in the room. So if you've been following the news about the Pixel phone at all, you know a lot of Pixel owners have been really concerned about not getting the updates as expected. Now, I will say the January update came a little bit later, and people were expecting this January update to make a lot of changes because, to be honest, this phone, every update has gotten buggier and buggier to the point where it was just starting to kind of ruin the everyday experience with the phone. From the fingerprint scanner not working correctly, to the camera freezing, to just random apps not opening and requiring a reboot. And sometimes the phone would reboot 3 or 4 times after doing that. It was so many little things to the point where I was just not taking this phone with me anymore, and I started using the Galaxy S21 again. But the January update was pushed out just recently, which is said to fix a lot of these bugs. And to be honest, I just got it on my phone less than a week ago, so I can't fully report if it fixed everything yet, but I will say the fingerprint scanner has gotten better, and I haven't ran into any of these random crashes just yet. So I can't fully say that everything's fixed yet, but I will say that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, if you will, and hopefully we are at the other side of the bug tunnel. So here's the fingerprint scanner. It is built into the phone, and as we continue to wear masks while being outside and being places, face to unlock is just something I don't like using. It makes it a lot harder to use. So this in-body screen fingerprint scanner, I think, is good. Like I said, the update made it more reliable. I haven't had a huge issue with it, but it is a much more reliable way to get into your phone, especially if your face is masked up. So you just boom, and you're right into the phone. I think that looks really dope. Now, I know I talked about getting a case for this phone before, but if you want to jazz it up a little bit more and, make it look a little bit different, make it unique, for like around 20 bucks, you can get this different style on the back of your phone, and you can make it completely unique, make it your own, and it also doesn't make the phone as slippery. Now, the number one thing people talk about when it comes to a Pixel device, it has to be the camera. That is the main reason that the Pixel or a Pixel always stays in my pocket. It's this camera. With this camera, you can take some incredible portraits and landscape shots. Now, this camera does a great job with color balance. Hardware-wise, you'll find a 50 megapixel wide, 48 megapixel telephoto, and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide setup. Now, if I did have to make a drawback about the still camera, is that it is 4x for the telephoto lens, which means if you're taking a picture at 2x or 3x, it is using the main lens and doing a digital zoom. So you don't get that pixel-like quality until you go to 4x. Not a huge deal for a lot of people, but for me, as someone that has an eye for these things, I do think about it. Now, when I'm taking a portrait mode shot of my son or someone else, I find the skin tones to be spot on. Whereas on other phones, the skin tones may not be as accurate as the phone sort of makes a decision on how they want the skin tones to look. I will say Pixel actually mentioned this in their keynotes, one of the features that it uses true skin tone. And also when it comes to video, this video mode has gotten a whole lot better. On paper, it looks better, and overall the video is usable, but at the same time, Samsung and Apple, they increased the quality on video recently, and the Pixel is still behind. I wish the Pixel was much further along on video, but at the end of the day, it's not. Overall, the Pixel camera is the Pixel camera. Like, where it stands as far as photography, that doesn't change at all. Always the best still photo, the best portrait mode camera available. Always the best. But when it comes to video and the flexibility, that's where things start to fall apart a little bit. Now, over the past month of using this phone, the battery on the Pixel 6 Pro has gotten pretty good. I do get all-day battery life without any problems, and that's expected. It has a 5003 milliamp cell battery. It does support 23-watt wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, and up to 30-watt fast charging for 0 to 50% in 30 minutes. But of course, that charging brick is not available in the box. I don't get why that's a thing, but it is a thing. So yeah, if you want that super fast charging speed, it's an extra purchase. So yeah, that's the Pixel 6 Pro. In my opinion, the Pixel 6 Pro is still a great phone if you want an excellent camera and you're not really into professional video and you're not into like taking pictures of like sports or anything like that, which isn't really suited for a cell phone, but less suited for the Pixel. Also, if you want a large phone, this is definitely a large phone. And yeah, this is a great package overall. Now here's the kicker. If you want a really good camera and you want the software experience of a Pixel and all those great features I've mentioned before, but you want a smaller phone and save hundreds of dollars, the Pixel 6 regular, non-Pro edition is probably a better choice for you. The Pixel 6, I think dollar for dollar, might be the best smartphone you can grab right now on Android. I think the camera is the same as this, except for you don't have the extra lens, which, you know, you can kind of give up. And it still has the great same screen. Battery life is not as good, but overall, it is the essence of what makes this phone great in a cheaper and smaller package. But that's all I have for you today. Kevin the Tech Ninja, if you enjoy this type of real content, this type of real talk, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and I'll talk to you folks later. Peace.